I should have felt proud, standing on that stage, my name etched in gold across the auditorium lights. But instead, there was a hollow echo in my chest. The seat beside me remained empty, her absence heavier than any award. She had refused to come. "It's just another ceremony," she said with that dismissive curl of her lips. "You'll survive without me." I nodded then, forcing a smile, telling myself it was nothing, but each clap of hands against the polished floorboards of the hall felt like a reminder. I was alone. The drive home was silent, except for the hum of the tires against asphalt and the occasional sigh I couldn't control. My mind raced, not with joy for the recognition I had earned, but with unease. Her refusal gnawed at me. She had always been my anchor, the person who held my world steady. Yet tonight, she was a ghost I couldn't reach. When I opened the door to our house, I smelled perfume that didn't belong to her. It was subtle, lingering around the hallway, warm and unfamiliar, like vanilla and something sharper beneath it. My heart caught in my throat. I told myself it was nothing, maybe a neighbor, maybe a visitor from earlier. But the nagging feeling, sharp and insistent, wouldn't leave. I found her in the bedroom, sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling on her phone, eyes flickering with a light I hadn't seen in months. "You're home early," she said without looking up, voice casual, practiced. My chest tightened. "Yeah, the ceremony," I replied, holding the envelope with my award like a shield. It would have meant a lot if you were there." She shrugged, and the gesture felt like sand slipping through my fingers. "I told you, it's just another night. You won. Isn't that enough?" Her indifference was a dagger wrapped in silk. I wanted to scream, to beg her to look at me, to remind her of the years we had built together, but the words lodged themselves in my throat. Instead, I let the silence stretch, heavy and accusatory. The next few days were a blur of rehearsed smiles and late-night phone calls, all while I tried to shake the feeling that something was off. There were small things, subtle at first. A whisper of guilt in her laugh, hurried glances at her phone, late meetings she couldn't explain. I brushed them off. I wanted to believe in us, in the life we had promised each other, even as the shadows of doubt thickened. Then came the letter. I had returned from a routine meeting, tired but satisfied, only to find an envelope on the kitchen counter. Her name was absent, the handwriting unfamiliar. Inside, a single photograph. My stomach dropped. It was her, my wife, laughing in a cafe I had never visited, her hand resting on another man's knee. The intimacy in that frame twisted me into knots. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to understand, to see the full picture before the walls of my world crumbled entirely. The following nights were a careful dance of observation, of noticing details I had ignored before. The messages that flashed too quickly on her phone when I entered a room. The sudden hush when I walked in. The faint scent of that perfume I had smelled the night of my award ceremony. And then the confrontation came, not through words, but through the silence she could no longer maintain. One evening, I returned home unexpectedly early. The lights were dim, the house quiet, except for muffled laughter from the living room. I froze at the doorway. There she was, pressed close to him, her hand on his arm. The world I had trusted her to protect slipping like sand through an open fist. My breath caught. Everything, the ceremony, the missed moments, the small betrayals, flooded back with brutal clarity. She turned, eyes widening, not with fear, but with that strange recognition that she had been caught. "You," was all I managed, voice raw. It's complicated," she whispered, as though that could explain years of quiet deceit. I didn't respond. Instead, I left. I walked into the night, the cool air biting at my skin, and for the first time, I felt clarity amidst the chaos of heartbreak. The betrayal was undeniable, and yet it was not rage that propelled me. It was resolve. Weeks later, I returned, not to confront, but to reclaim. My work, my talent, the life I had built, all converged in a single moment. I walked into the bank, signed papers, and left with a check for $1 million. It wasn't just money, it was freedom, the embodiment of years of dedication and resilience. I came home that night, the envelope clutched tightly in my hand, not to share my triumph with her, but to witness the truth of what had been broken. She was there, waiting, her expression a mixture of anticipation and guilt. I looked at her, really looked, and saw the woman I thought I knew replaced by someone I could no longer recognize. This is yours, I said, tossing the envelope onto the table. You're free to go. I'm taking back what you tried to steal from me. Her eyes widened, a flicker of something, shock, regret, perhaps even sorrow, but it was too late. The betrayal had carved a canyon between us, impossible to bridge. And as I walked away, the weight lifted, replaced by a strange, cold clarity. I had lost her, yes, but I had found myself. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, heart still aching, but mind sharp. Love, trust, and betrayal. These threads had woven a story that would haunt me forever. Yet somewhere in that pain was a lesson. Some shadows must be faced alone, and some victories, no matter how brilliant, are only sweet when they are truly yours. The house was silent once more, but for the first time in months, I felt alive.